Hey y'all, it's Natalie SUGAR Brown here. And you know what time it is if that's the case. It must be well, 7:30ish on a Wednesday night because you're here with me, Natalie SUGAR Brown. And it's the Sugar Show. It's the Sugar Show, y'all. It's the Sugar Show where we get together and we have a conversation. We talk about women's boxing. I am Natalie SUGAR Brown, woman boxer, female pugilist. Okay, been in the game, uh, ups, downs, ins, outs, all of it. And now this is my platform to talk about it. And this is where I speak on things, speak on the real, authentic story of being a woman boxer out here in the world. The talking the talk. Okay, so this is a platform where we are able to get on here and just chat. Okay, you don't have to know the numbers per se. You just gotta like the broad. You gotta like what we talking about. And like doesn't mean that, oh, you're agreeing with what I'm saying per se. Like it meaning you like the vibe. You like uh coming on the Sugar Show or chilling out with me and us talking to talk. Um Ask me the questions. Ask me, right? It may seem like a dumb question and it may seem like something that everyone should know, I guess, because not many people know about what's going on out here, especially being a woman boxer. Okay, so ask me the questions that you want to ask me. I ain't never scared. Okay, so we're going to get into the conversation. Okay, tonight's title is, are we excited yet? Are we excited yet? Why? Because there's a big card coming up in women's boxing this weekend. Yeah, and I've been chatting about that for the last couple weeks or something. You know what I'm saying? I gave the spiel and the kind of rundown of the card last Wednesday, but I got to bring it back this Wednesday too. Why I'm bringing it back is because they done added another couple broads on the card that we really got to talk about, because it's not, um I got I got some challenge when it comes to what it is they selling on this card. Okay, so I went through the other stuff, and I said how I felt, and some of the guys came on, always support me, and I'm so grateful. I hope you guys show up, and if you're new to the Sugar Show or to the Sugar platform, you are welcome to chime in. And if you true, I love to hear from you, and I love to see you come in on my thread and talk the talk. Okay, so today or tonight, we're gonna talk about and we're gonna get into it. Lovely assistant, I don't know how long this show might be. It just depends. It just depends. Okay, so y'all, look who they done added. Look who they added to the Amanda Serrano. Goodness, y'all, I'm already jammed up. Um, to this big card here at Madison Square Garden with Amanda Serrano and lovely assistant. For some reason, this broad's name misses me. Who Amanda fighting on Thursday? On Thursday. Who is Amanda fighting? Like, it's not that she's a nobody or whatever, but like for some reason that these names aren't parked in my mind nowadays. Y'all y'all gonna help me? All right. So um My guys came into the rescue. Thank you. Erica Cruz. Okay, so Erica Cruz, and the thing is, Erica Cruz is a champion. She got a belt in her division, right? So Amanda is fighting. It is fighting Erica Cruz. Y'all know. Listen, it's Wednesday. They don't call Wednesday hump day for nothing. Okay? Listen, y'all don't even know what's going on on the behind the scenes in the life of your girl Sugar. But listen, I'm just glad I can make it here and we could chat the chat. Okay? This is actually one of my favorite parts of the week when I get together with you guys, with you guys that chime in, or you guys that come to see me and talk my talk. Okay, so Erica Cruz has a belt. I think this is the division is with these smaller gals. Is it y'all? Let me just go on and because this I am jammed up. Amanda, who Amanda find? Y'all know I'm on my phone. Let's see what's she fighting for. Um, come on, don't. All right, y'all. So Amanda Serrano is fighting Erica Cruz, for her featherweight title. Okay, ain't much going on down in featherweights. I'm not saying that it's irrelevant or whatever it is, but how when you don't really like when you don't really look at something um too much, you kind of forget the details. So that's what kind of happened, but no shade. I am looking forward to this card coming up this weekend because as I gave y'all the run through last weekend, I mean last week Wednesday, it's a pretty interesting match on this card with Alicia and Ellen McCallum, Alicia Mumgarner and Ellen McCallum. I think that is McCallum is the matchup that I'm looking forward to. Okay, so look who they done added these two on the card. Okay, so of course y'all know I got to give y'all the rundown about what's coming on. And the thing about it is it's such a huge card that there's five uh women's bouts now on this card with and it's being promoted pretty good live on Dazen. uh of course, what's his name, Jake Paul is the guy that's got his stable, his super his stars, the stars of his stable on this card. He just signed Shadiza Green, and coincidentally, 6 days ago, he signs her, and then he puts her on this huge card to fight Ellen Cederos. So let me break down this matchup and let's talk about this matchup, okay? Um, lovely assistant, can you can you pan to the next image, please? Come on now. All right, so each contender deserves their little time in the spotlight, and Ellen Cederos certainly deserves hers. And not many people know about this broad, okay? But let's talk about her, okay? Because she's she's had the titles in her hands. Why not? Why not? So um, as you can see, Ellen Cederos is 8 wins, 1 loss, and 4 KOs. She is a super middleweight. Okay, right now she's a super middleweight contender. Okay, so she had um, two belts. She had the IBF super middleweight belt and the WBA super middleweight belt. And y'all know, I hope y'all keeping up with Sugar and Sugar Show, because there is some education. There is some education in what I come on here and chat about. But she had these two titles up until April of last year, 2022, where she was defeated, where Franchon Cruz Dezern came and took her hardware up off of her. Okay, at the same spot, Madison Square Garden, and I think it was on the undercard of Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. Okay, and it looks like Jake Paul just love when his gals get freaky at Madison Square Garden, because this is the second showing for his broads, his gals from his stable at Maddie Square Garden. Okay, Amanda, and now Shadizia, who he just signed. Okay, so we're gonna go into Ellen Cederus. She's about 5'10". Okay, big broad. Okay, that's pretty tall. She's 38 years old. Okay, so she's croning. She's croning right now. She's Swedish. She's from Sweden. And she got some items on her receipt. Okay, so this is a pretty she was a pretty decent contender in her division, or is um right now. Well, we want to talk about this one. Okay, so um lovely assistant. Let's pan on to the next image. Okay, so the first item, or the first broad she has on her receipt, is who we're looking at right here, Femke Herman, who just had an outstanding win against the gal, or the broad, uh, up in Quebec, Canada, Mary Spencer. So she flew all the way away from where she was at, and went and took her win up off of Mary Spencer in Quebec. And not only did she fight to a decision, but she dropped Mary Spencer in this match, and I believe she exposed Mary's heart a bit. I'm hoping that Mary comes back and lick her wounds, but this is something that I've mentioned in previous shows, where Mary Spencer, her heart, and we call it heart in boxing, has always been questionable. Does she have the heart to fight when someone brings a fight to her? And Femke brought the fight to her, in where, just because you get dropped in the fight don't mean the fight's over, and it doesn't mean you're going to lose or you're losing the fight. If anything, you fight harder if something like that happens, especially in your backyard. But it didn't. Mary just didn't show up after that happened, and Femke, being the phlegmatic fighter that she is, phlegmatic temperament, meaning, she's going with the energy now of the crowd and everything that's happening around her. She just gained momentum, and just kept building and building, where Mary Spencer, who I would say she is more of a sanguine type of fighter, because if she's not in the spotlight, if she's not being praised, if she's not the star of the show, she certainly stops acting like it, and she won't fight like it. So she started backing off and backing off, where Femke kept building and building into a fantastic win. So getting back to chatting about Ellen Sederus, okay, from Sweden. Uh, this broad is on her receipt, okay? So she fought Femke Herman when Femke was 9 wins, 2 losses. So Femke was, I think she was fresh off of her 2 losses. I I I I ain't going to tell you who she lost against. I want y'all to dig a bit deeper there, okay? But that's an item on the receipt. That's a good contender now, okay? And then after she won over Femke, she fought a fighter named Alicia Napoleon, who was 12 wins, 1 loss at the time, okay? And she beat Alicia Napoleon with a majority decision. Lovely assistant. Do we have any? Do we have anything that uh, shows? Okay, so I mean, this is at a point in time in the fight. So you see Ellen, she looks like she just delivered a good one across Napoleon's jaw. And Napoleon did, the both eyes are both of them eyes is closed, right? So I would say, to be honest, this shows the experience level, or shows, it shows the comfort of these two fighters in the ring. And you can see where they're still a bit under seasoned, right? They're not seasoned enough to, in when a fighter is seasoned, and a fighter is comfortable in the fight, is when they've taken the shot and they're still looking at their opponent or the person in front of them, right? You taking the shot, but you looking at what's next, what's coming next, right? Or you're giving the shot, but you're looking where the shot's going. Both of these broads, their eyes is closed, like a fighter, such as myself. I always capitalized on these moments because I had quick feet and I knew my angles. So when a fighter closes their eyes, you know, I disappear. I'll show up at another angle that you can't quite see, and you have to find me in order to get that thing going again, or in order to stay in it, right? Because once I get off the angle, you want to catch another one, you want to catch another three, right? So this picture shows, two broads in there fighting. uh Ellen has, struck a good one across Alicia's jaw, okay? And it looked like they were standing and giving and taking, okay? The thing about it is, in this fight, she eked out the decision because Alicia Napoleon is not a good fighter. Not, I'm not saying she's not a good fighter, but she's not a fighter that deals well with someone who keeps coming, she doesn't know how to manage her. She doesn't really know how to manage the pace, and she doesn't know how to fight the oncoming train, right? Sometimes you have to step off the rails and come back on, step off the track and come back on the track, step off the track, come back on the track, right? You can't outrun the train, right? You can't outrun, keep going, moving back and moving back. Why? Because yeah, Ellen is, to me, she's a phlegmatic fighter as well. She's moving, she's fighting off of the momentum and the energy of the crowd and what's happening around. So you don't give a fighter like that room, or you don't give them any type of motion to build a to build momentum. Okay, one round with George Yankovic. I hope I said your name right. Came in and says, can't wait for the card this weekend at the Hulu. Okay, is that the platform that the card is going to be on? Hulu? Y'all, I'm telling y'all, Sugar is a cave woman when it comes to this stuff. I don't Sugar don't even watch TV, like, unless it's something like really interesting. Me, I'm just always engaged. I always got someone that I'm engaging with, and that's what I love. That's the spice of life to me. Meeting people, spending time with people, even though at the same time I am very introverted and I love time to myself. So I'm kind of weird that way. Right. But yeah. Um, One round with George says that's the name of the spot in the garden that is at the Hulu Theater. Used to be called the Paramount. Thank you, baby. Thank you for dropping that knowledge on us. Okay, so yeah, they gonna be, so it's going down at the Hulu. Okay, yes. Okay, so somebody finna get their ass whipped down at the Hulu, cause you know we not going down there for no Girl Scout convention, right? We about it's five female bouts, right? And that means 10 women about to behave badly down there at the Hulu, and that's it. Just sounds fantastic. George, Mr. Yankovic, are you going, or are you going to be like chiming in or tuning in online? You let me know, and let me know who you want to see the most on the card. Right? Thanks for chiming in. Eddie Barrington says Hulu Theater is the venue. Okay, baby, thank you. Right? I know it. Listen. And you came in always with the six roses. Okay. And you know what, and hopefully, what I love, I hope one day that I can meet my meet my people, my supporters out here, because I owe you some sugar for every rose you give me, right? So I got six roses. That's gonna be fun, ain't it? Right? um One round with George says, I plan on going. It's an hour away from me. I'm a big Serrano and Bumgardner fan. Okay then. And I love that you would drive an hour just to see the women behave badly, right? That's all we ever wanted. That's all we ever wanted, right? Men like you, George, you, Eddie, right? The rest of y'all chiming in, and y'all gals, y'all women's out there, right? To come see us, right? And you make the time, make the effort to come see us act up in that mother. Okay. And, what a time to be a women's boxers. Yeah, a women boxer. You know what I'm saying? What a time. One round with George says they are fighters, plain and simple. Ain't nothing plain and simple about being a woman boxer. That's why that's why I got this show, George. Right? It ain't plain and simple for us, but I'm glad that you like fighters, and it's just plain and simple, and you'll drive an hour to see these women fight. Okay. So a big Serrano and Baumgartner fan. Good. Um I'm I am a fan of how much growth they're bringing to our industry, right? It takes a lot to be in the spotlight, and I hope these girls show out really good on this card. Um, because, like I said before, what a time to be a woman boxer, right? We never headlining, main and co-main. What? You know what I'm saying? This is it's fantastic. It's history in the making. So I'm going, you know, speak a little bit more about, because you guys, Eddie and one round with George, we have this matchup with Shadisha Green and versus Ellen Sedarus on this card that just got added. I would say last minute. This is, I mean, unless they're promoting it like that, right? I think they being knew that they were gonna put these broads on the card. It's just maybe the paperwork didn't come together, something like that, and they, finally added them or put them on that space. Now, I don't know, that's another thing too. I don't know how the lineup is going to be on this card. Um, so let me finish up with this broad, talking about this broad. Okay, so majority decision win over Alicia Napoleon. So it looked like Alicia came close to the clipping the wings off Ellen Sedarus, right? Majority decision. That means out of the one judge thought that Alicia actually won the fight. So I mean, that's a good item on the receipt, both of them. Okay, both, one was a champion, one was a great contender. Majority decision, that means they both showed out. Okay, this one, no tomato can, Paddington match. Okay, and then lovely assistant, let's go on to the next image. Let's go on to the next image. Oh, okay. So this is Ellen Sederu's most recent match, which was her versus Franchon Cruz Dezern. And this was the night where Franchon took took the fight. Okay, so won the decision, unanimous decision. That means all the judges thought of Franchon Cruz uh, beat that ass enough to take the hardware and become the new champ. Okay, Franchon Cruz was 7-1 at the time. So Franchon Cruz is that one is I will say it's Clarissa Shields, because because she turned she debuted versus Clarissa Shields. So her and Clarissa, they turned pro by fighting each other at the same time on the card. So that's how I remember that one. Okay, Franchon Cruz Dezern. She's not she's not known uh, for fighting per se. She calls herself the diva, okay, but she is known for the diva shit that do be happening, when it comes to her getting in the ring and her tangling it up. Um, she, she broad came in, had to get her wig cut off to finish the fight. She fought someone who was said to be was a male who transitioned to female. So she brings a lot of drama and diva stuff to women's boxing, which is very interesting, and it makes for a great show. So she also has great amateur pedigree, where she is a multi-world champion as an amateur. So she's been a top fighter in the world for a while, even though, I mean, Clarissa Shields has what, 12 plus, like I think 12 fights now, 12 or 13 fights now, and she only has like 9 fights now. So she's just now getting to the 10 mark. Um, so items on this broad's receipt, Ellen Sedarus. She also has her KO. She has 4 KOs with her 8 win, 1 loss record. Okay, and I would say these are her KOs. Okay, so she KO'd a fighter who was 3 wins, 24 losses, out of Hungary. Her name is this fighter's name is Claudia Vi, out of Hungary. Okay. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Claudia Vi is also on the receipt of uh, fighter that has drawn a lot of popularity in the mega match that recently happened, Savannah Marshall. So this 3-24 fighter, yes, I said it, 3 wins, 24 losses fighter is one of Savannah Marshall's 12 victories. So it's different, right? The debate was previously, is because when Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields fought, both had O's, right? But both were undefeated. Both had around the same amount of fights. I think they both had 11, or I think was it 11 or 12 fights, something like that. They had the same amount of fights, okay? And this is it's kind of cheesy at this point, but someone's had to go, right? And so they were arguing that Savannah Marshall's 12 fights were just as substantial as Clarissa's 12 fights, which I I disagree. Savannah Marshall's fights, as you can see, there were no Paddingtons on Clarissa Shields or in Clarissa Shields' receipt. Okay, she fought many high end contenders to earn her 12 and 0, where Savannah Marshall was built with fighters like Claudia Vi now, who is 33 wins and 24 losses. My goodness. They used to suspend fighters, women fighters with records like that, because of the fear of them getting severely or hurt, or them actually um possibly ending up dead, or from having these losses. But what we've come to realize is maybe some of these 24 losses on Claudia Vi's record weren't losses, right? Maybe she was in the wrong place. Maybe, she was handed some raw deals to where these 24 losses may not, right? I haven't seen this broad fight, so I'm not going to speak too much on it, but that may be the case. um then she went on to fighting uh Sanya, uh gosh, y'all gonna watch me butcher this name, but it's all in love. Sanya Ostajic, Ostajic or Jik, right? Out of Bosnia, who was 1 win, 1 loss at that time. So she was a debut fighter. And she fought Sanya when she had fights under her belt. So to me, if you are if you have more than 3 fights and you still fighting debut fighters, you're disgusting. Yeah, you are. Yeah, right, because you're fighting someone who's just getting their feet wet, like someone who hasn't even gotten comfortable in the ring, and you're using that as an advantage after you've gotten comfortable in there to take advantage of their what's my words? I'm losing my words. Taking advantage of their inexperience, right? That's not what that can't be what this is about. And if you want to be a high end champion or a high end contender, we got to stop that, right? I'm calling all of y'all for doing that. It's disgusting. It's cringe. Come on now. That's like playing. That's like you are a high school basketball player and you're playing basketball against a team of elementary school uh, students, right? And then you slam dunking on them and shit, and you claiming the win. That's how it really looks. That's how cringe it looks. Michael Ork chimes in, talking about, hey, Sugar. Hey, Mike. Thanks for coming to see me. We on here talking about this addition to the Amanda Serrano and Erica Cruz fight in Shadisha Green versus Ellen Cederus. I'm kind of running down Ellen's uh, skid row and what her record looks like, what her receipt is looking like, Mike. Tell me what you think of this broad, right? You out there, you know the thing, you know the thing, and you talk the talk on Fridays about these women boxers. Um, how you feel, right? Tell me what you know. Tell me what you think about this. So then going into Ellen Ellen's KO, right? She has 3 KOs. Well, she has 4 KOs, but these 3 KOs on her record is what I'm focusing on, because the these people have points that I need y'all to look at, right? I need y'all to look, because people have records and, oh, KO, people get excited about the KOs, but who did you KO? Who did you KO? Right? Who did you go in there and stop? Did you stop a strong contender, or did you stop somebody that really shouldn't even been matched up with you? Right? Have to, right? People ask Sugar, well, what is it going to take for, you know, people to respect women's boxing and to give these women their due? It's going to take us calling, or yeah, it's going to take us knowing when it's they on some bullshit, right? Because then when you'll love the ones who are authentically out there doing it. You'll love the ones who that earned the KO because they some bad broadies, because they put that shit together and put the broad down, right? There was no backyard back alley shenanigans, and they earned that win in that fashion, instead of people padding or matchmaking, predatory matchmaking and all that gross um unethical stuff that happens and that's been happening in this game. We've got to stop that. The last KO that I will mention on Ellen Cedero's record is Florence Mathoni. Yeah, I think that's her name. Florence Mathoni, who is 12 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws. And she's out of Kenya. So this record is a Kenyan 12 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, okay? But um Florence Mathoni's got some items on her receipt. So she fought the likes of Delphine Pursoon. Okay, and y'all know fights up to Delphine fights between um I think she fought between featherweight and lightweight. Okay. So this is the number, right? So from 130 right up to 135. Okay. This broad then fought Femke Herman. And y'all know Femke was fighting middleweight, 160. Okay. So this is a drastic jump in between opposition, 30 pounds. Okay. So this is an item on Florence's receipt. These are the items on Florence's receipt. Then she fought Christina Hammer, who is a heavyweight. Okay. So Christina Hammer fights up there. Well, light heavyweight, 170 something, 70 something up there. Okay, so Florence Mathoni, okay, she's extended herself. Okay, she has enough items on her receipt, I would say, to still be a contender. Her record, she's still winning. She still has a winning record from what I could see, with 12 wins and 7 losses, but she's kind of tilting now because her win-loss ratio is you know, her losses now exceed her half of her winnings. Okay, so that's how you do it. Like when a fighter's losses exceed half or go more than half of the fights that they've actually won, that's how you determine what kind of contender they are. Okay. Now this is, like I said, this is an African 12 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws. But the fact that she's gotten into the ring with this type of opposition still makes her a decent contender, right? Because these names are using her to build themselves. So she had to have proposed some kind of problem to them, right? So I mean, even if she got KO'd, okay. So these are the items, and this is, this is the broad Ellen Siderus. Now I watched her fight. I watched her fight. The last person I watched her fight was Franchon Cruz Dezern, and I'm gonna tell you this: you will fall asleep watching her ass because she's very mechanical and slow, but she's not afraid to leak, and she will always leak in there. Yes, she's one of those that she ain't moving her head. She's boom, and she's gonna keep coming like Frankenstein. Boom, boom, and keep coming like Frankenstein till you bust her all up and she's leaking, and she's still gonna keep coming. I think her blood motivates her. I hate fighting people like that, to be honest. Right? That's a bit of sanguine in me, right? Ugh, when you get your blood and boogers on me, it's gross. I gotta stop this shit now. You know what I'm saying? So, and to be honest, that is something that can win a fight. That is something that can affect the psyche of a fighter, and can be used, right? So she knows her blood. Can you imagine someone walking to you drenched in blood, and you're hitting them and they're still walking to you like a zombie? That's going to freak some real ones out who ain't built for this. You got to be built to bludgeon somebody, right? So if your conscience starts coming through and starts like working on you, because she keeps coming and she keeps bleeding, and you see her life slowly leaving her, she'll catch up to you, and she'll end up beating you if you're not locked in, and if the savage ain't as strong. um so Michael Orr comes in, and we want to talk about, so Michael Orr comes in talking about who we about to who we about to chat up on, Shadisha Green. Okay, so Mike chimes in and says Green was a Three Kings prospect of the year before getting signed to MVP Jake Paul. Who the Three Kings though? The Three Kings. Who them? Who them? Prospect of the year. You know, like these awards and all of that stuff. We got something's coming, right? Something's being put together. Something is in the works right now that's going to, really, really put these awards and all of these credentials in their place, right? Because I don't know who the Three Kings is. Prospect of the year. Well, what other prospects do y'all got? What other prospects do y'all have for me to be impressed about about you nominating this, prospect of the year? Lovely assistant, can you change the image, please? Please. Ooh, that's another shot right there. Let's talk about it just real quick. We want to chime back. Now, the thing about this too, the reason why this clip made it is, boy, I tell you, the performance. There's a performance in every matchup, and it's a performance. Like some of these broads, the way they fight is their brand. All of us broads, the way we fight is our brand. Okay, and I'm gonna say beautiful woman, beautiful woman. She may me and her have gotten into it. She done blocked me on social media, Franchon Cruz. I don't care. But I'll say beautiful woman, uh except for when she's fighting. Boy, you ain't never seen a uglier broad in a fight, right? She ain't gonna be the one smooth in it, right? She gonna bring out the ugly she gonna show you her ugly in a match. And so unorthodox, just ugly punches, ugly everything, but it's entertaining, and she comes out the diva after that. So, very entertaining. Her versus her versus Ellen was just entertaining in that way, where she laid some leather on Ellen's ass in there. I'm telling you, and Ellen just kept coming. I was like, is she feeling any of those shots? Like, she's just Frankenstein up in that mug. I was like, okay. um you know So that's why this clip made it, and she seemed to be handling it. But boy, Franchon had her leaking in there. She was all bloody. Loved her outfit. I loved the both of their outfit that night. With the um, what do y'all call it? What do you with the pleather, with the pleather tank top, and the black and gold Roman skirt, and uh Franchon Cruz in there with the grape ape, with the grape with the perp sequins in there, shining and glistening. It looked good. It looked good. I liked to watch that, because they did have person that show their personality um out behind their fighting, in their wardrobe, and just in how they were handled themselves in there. So I liked it. um Lovely assistant, is there anything else? Is there any other pictures? Okay, so now we talking about Shadisha Green. Okay, so Three Kings prospect. Michael Orr says Three Kings is a website that provides boxing news. Great. So who are the other prospects who are the other prospects? Like who, like they prospecting women's fighters out there. I just, the reason why I'm asking, you're gonna see why I'm being a smart ass about this, right? Because I got to say it. Somebody's gonna say it. Um she's suspect. She's suspect. And I'm not saying that the broad might not be able to fight, and I'm not been saying she ain't nothing, but um I looked at her receipt. How you gonna make somebody a prospect of the year when they ain't done much? You know what I'm saying? Save your breath. But I told y'all out here that these news sources, you know, they getting bought, they getting paid, they getting favors, right? They for putting people's gals in on a ranking list, on a list, on the spotlight. But that's not helping. That's not helping women's boxing, right? Do it. You can do it with the men, right? The men got deep pockets, but we don't have deep enough pools and pockets of women and contenders for you to be bullshitting people, right? There, I always say this, there are contenders out there that deserve these awards, that deserve to be prospects of the year, right? And you're supposed to be giving boxing news, and you can't find the names. You're supposed to be serving the public and giving them information, and you bullshitting people. I think that's disrespectful. That's why I always, as much as Sue, hey Sue, I hope you watching. Sue off of Sue Fox from the Bible of Women's Boxing, WBAN. Right? If you want to know something about a woman boxer, you go to WBAN, the Women's Boxing Archive Network. Okay? It's one thing Sue ain't never done. She had her favorites, but she ain't never lied on a broad. And she makes sure she put people together on her boards and stuff, that she tries to be objective, and she tries to give everyone a fair chance. Even though, Sue, you be having your favorites, but I love you anyway. You've been here for Sugar. You've been out there for all of us, and I love you for that. I'm always saying. Um, So, I'm sure on, check it out. Check out the WBAN website. You'll see a list of broads deserving of many awards. And all of a sudden the three kings come out and think that they can talk about a woman boxer and saying that she a prop. If you're giving information, do the work. Just like suing them, right? Eddie Montavolo, right? He been out there. He'll tell you what, the ABCs, and it ain't that, ABCs you find it in alphabet soup, right? He's written articles, and he's done the research, and he's actually rolled his sleeves up and helped the broads in the game, right? So he'll tell you, right? He's about to start a podcast too. I'm supporting everybody out here. I want everybody to talk about women's boxing, because it's interesting. Interesting. It is. Um, so Michael Orr says Green's boxing was only meant to supplement her basketball training, a way to get in shape and improve her footwork without having to pound the pavement. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody got a story, right? So yes, so she's a former basketball player. That's what I got from it. Um, and the thing about it is, what people don't know is basketball and boxing are cousins. They're the only two sports where you're doing two different things simultaneously. So you're doing one thing with your feet and doing another thing with your hand at the same time. And you're also moving and shucking and jiving very much. So a basketball, anybody who's good at basketball just might be a good fighter too, right? So I've seen a lot of fighters do I've seen a lot of fighters uh a lot of basketball players try their hand at boxing, and some of them is good out here. Some of them was is good. um Michael also says, look at you supplementing the giving me all this information. Green was one of the best high school players in the state. We're not going to talk about her basketball career, right? Y'all can look that up. Y'all could Google that. Google it. We talking about Shadisha Green as a fighter, okay? So give me a second, y'all. Sorry, y'all, for the sorry y'all for the interruption, right? I got some going on over here which um on this end of the camera, okay? But we're not going to talk about Shadisha Green's career, right? As a basketball player, okay? That's great, that's kudos, that adds to who she is as a fighter, but who is she as a fighter? That's what's important now. That's what we here to talk about. So Michael Orr is saying what I'm saying now. Green really hasn't fought anybody. Um, she's 33 years old. Okay, so she's still a young broad out here. Um, she's 5'8". And Michael Orr chimes in saying that she started boxing at 15 years old. So okay, so she started boxing at 15. She been boxing for 15 years. You've been boxing, so I mean that adds even more to this because she also has a great amateur background. She's fought internationally, um, and she was on Team USA. So she's from the pedigree. She's from the pedigree of USA boxing. Like Sugar. Michael Orr chimes in. She has a 6-0 record as an amateur. Bruh. We gonna stop right here, okay? Mike, you ain't tell me, you didn't just chime in and tell me that she only fought 6 amateur fights as an amateur. You uh you forgot a 2. Like you should have, there should be a, did you forget to type the 2 in? Because I see 6-0. Michael, you confirming that she's 6-0. She only fought 6 amateur fights and she made it internationally. Listen, y'all, where the bad bitches at? Come on now, you tell me a broad that's only had 6 fights made it to an international, made it on Team USA? Where the bad bitches at? Come on now, it never used to be this way. It never used to be this way, y'all. Nah, we had Devon Kennedy, heavyweight first. Devon Kennedy, first gold medalist to earn the first fighter, female fighter. Right? The bonus is she was she was on Team USA with me. Right? No, that was when I was on Team Jamaica. Right? Team USA, listen, this is in the memoirs. Team USA slighted me or robbed me on some bullshit shenanigans versus a New York fighter who she was really good, but I had to scare her out of my division. Um So they kicked me out of the running for to be on Team USA to go to the first women's world championships in history, right? So they thought they was going to cut Too Bad out, but they didn't know that Too Bad was better, right? And Too Bad became the first Jamaican woman to fight or to box, period, in the history of Jamaica, and represent Jamaica. And this is the country, like I said, the country of my ancestors. So it was like a real heartfelt thing. I never dreamed that I would do something so special. Um, and so yeah, the Jamaican Boxing Board took me with open arms. Mr. and Mrs. Brown, and no relation either. There's a lot of Browns in Jamaica. Go figure. So they took me with open arms, and I got a silver for the country of Jamaica. And no baddie from Jamaica has brought home no hardware ever since. So I'm still in history as the only woman to have medaled on a world stage for the little island, with little but with Talawa, of Jamaica. So put that in your history books. That's a little education for you. So getting back to the Shadisha, okay? Shadisha got, and listen, I'm gonna say this too. I wouldn't know. It wasn't no 6-0 or whatever. Sugar was what? When I went to the World Championships as an amateur, I had something like 60 fights. Yeah, yeah. I had a lot of, and that was for an amateur female too. I was fighting everybody. I was fighting at club, any club, show, tournament, everywhere. Like I was the scourge of the welterweight division. 147 when they had it. um anyway, so she's what, this Shadisha Green, she got the paperwork, like she checked some boxes. But my thing about her is, like, if you bad on the world stage, and you're second in the world at this, I mean, who you why you ain't fighting nobody as a pro? You're 11-0, and you a hot fart out here. And it ain't a diss, but I said what I said too, Miss Green. Like, I ain't scared. I ain't scared. I ain't never scared, right? I just want to know, like, you look like you have all the right ingredients together to just be a better prospect than you actually are. And like I said, um it's women out here that have earned it, that should be on these platforms, that should have these chances. And like, I just don't, I'm not buying what you selling just yet, Shadisha Green. um Tony's Reviews comes in and says, hair on fleek, long time, keep up the good work. Hey, Tony. Tony, you making me blush. Thank you. You like it? You like it? Thank you. Thank you. You know what? Like, the thing about Sugar too, with the hair, like, y'all didn't see me go through a lot of looks and a lot of hair. Um, sugar is just really simple, like, I put it together and it just happens to just happen this way. Um, Mike said he liked my hands. I cut my bangs. I cut the bangs. So Mike liked that too. So thank you, Tony, and thank you, Mike. Thank you all out there for noticing uh what Sugar do to it. It's priceless when you make a woman feel pretty. I'm telling you that. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. It don't matter. It don't matter. But it don't matter what she say after. If you say something nice to a woman and make her feel pretty, you got her. Just like y'all got me. Um, so women boxing channel chiming in, talking about don't take the stats on amateur box rec literally ever. It may state 5-2, but she probably fought around 30 or 40 fights on minor competitions too. You don't get to USA level without a decent record. Women boxing channel, let me educate you. Shadisha Green ain't come up like how Sugar, the last the last of the Mohicans of that era that fought underground and came into the amateurs was the likes of Veronica Simmons, Sugar, Alicia Ashley. Um, who else was out here doing it doing it on the straight and narrow and underground. Like us veterans that started the AMI game, like started traveling, we were the ones that was doing 30-40 underground fights, and then, you know, hoping to get legitimate fights on the Emory team. And the thing about it is, if you got found out for doing underground fights, they were going, USA Boxing was going to kick your ass off the team or off the roster. So like it was really like I would never, now that I'm out of it, I would never admit some of the things that I've done. Right, previously, just to fight as a fighter, right? I did like, I'm gonna just leave it at that. Okay. We can have a hot and heavy memoir coming or interview coming, you know, soon. But Shadisha Green ain't do no 30 or 40 fights, no underground or nowhere else. Yeah. She was in a dead weight division. Yeah. They have zombie weight divisions, okay, and the big girls, they not focused on the big broads no more like they used to be. um like I said, Keisha Snow, Tiffany Logan, them broads that were fighting underground and then fighting Golden Gloves, New York Golden Gloves and things like that. You know what I'm saying? When amateur was our pro, you know, that was the time. Shadisha Green is a youngin. She's 33, right? She would she was still in. I would say she was still in pull-ups or something. She was still wetting the bed when some of us who was actually fighting underground was fighting. Um, Women's Boxing Channel also says, fact is, she's been out 3 times in 2022. So she's doing okay considering she ain't with a big backer. Um, Let me educate you again, Women's Boxing Channel. See, a lot of y'all out there seem to think that backers come to women. No, most of us don't have backers. Very few, very few female fighters, women fighters have backers. If you get a backer, you have won the lottery. Okay? So it ain't necessary for you to have a backer to be out here fighting, right? You can still extend yourself. You can still show who you are. You can still be a valid contender. That's why I'm so hard on these broads out here, because we haven't made it yet, y'all. Y'all out here fighting 2 minutes and ain't fighting nobody in 2 minutes. Y'all are not even out there. I can see if, we fighting 3 minute rounds because, like I said, when that third minute kick in, it's it's made the best woman win. It's made the baddest bitch make it to the end, right? To fight 3 minute rounds, you got to have your head on straight. It's a different animal. But to go in there and dance around, like I could dance around for 30 seconds, right? And then I can throw some shots for another 30 seconds. That's half the round, right? I dance around again, and then come on now. It ain't a fight. It's not a fight. I said it, right? Talk to talk to them old school broads that were fighting that have fought 3 minutes, that had to go in there and fight there. I started when I started my amateur career. Amateur women were fighting 3 minute rounds, just like the guys, and it was tough. Um, Michael Orr says Green has dropped 40 pounds to fight super middle. She believes she has the skills to match up with anyone, including Franchon Cruz. So we're going to talk about that. That's why, I brought up the diva, Franchon Cruz, because that's who she's gunning for, right? And it seems like that they're because the super middleweight right now is a zombie weight division. Ain't nobody rallying there. Clarissa Shields done left it. The money's not in that division no more, right? And I don't see. Maybe Jake Paul got a plan in Shadisha Green, but the Ellen Cedero certainly wasn't bringing no money to the division, and there weren't any names in that division anymore, right? Whoever should be, Oksana Castillo, done went up to 200 damn pounds. She need to come back down. She would have been great at super middleweight. I think I I think instead of going up to heavyweight, that Hannah Gabriel should have rallied at 168 super middle as well, right? I think there's some good contenders that instead of chasing uh, Clarissa, could have made a good little pool in the division that would drive interest. A contender would have come up, money would be generating, like a real champion would have made the division something. But everyone wants to chase the golden goose instead of making a legacy for themselves, right? And to me, that's the thing that's missing about women's boxing right now. Like, you have to be you have to you got to be nasty enough, freaky enough to bring eyes on you in your division, right? You got to be that broad that people are interested in, like Ebony Bridges. Look at her, right? She done come out nasty and freaky and nice, and people love her. I like her. She's making a name for herself, right? And she's doing it thirst trapping, but it can be all different kind of ways, right? All different kind of ways, all different kind of contenders. Um, I'm just making a note here because I'm gonna bring this up in a little bit. Let's see. Let me read a little bit about what I said. I love the conversation and I love where it's going. Thank you guys for chiming in. Um, Women's Boxing Channel has come in with some interesting information. Women's Boxing Channel says, I'm more interested in 147 right now. McCaskill's been stripped of the IBF 147. So it'll be interesting to see who gets first dibs on the vacant title there. They should have stripped her of all her titles. How the hell is she holding on to the other ones? She had to, you have to vacate to move down and fight a fighter for a lesser division's belts, and she did that in taking her chances versus Chantel Cameron. Okay, and she got her block dusted, right? So she should not be holding on to none of those 147 belts. But I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with that. So she's been stripped of the IBF 147. It's vacant. Well, Women's Boxing Channel, who do you think? Who do you see? Who would you like to capture that 147 crown or belt out of all of these contenders out here that can make 147? Be very interesting to see, because you know your stuff. You do your studies. You a book guy. I want to know who I ain't gonna start teasing you about it yet, but I'm just wondering who who would you like to have that belt? So I wrote this, like Shadisha Green is fighting, like this matchup is like, this is a big, like this is a paramount match in women's boxing in the rankings, because all of a sudden this is an eliminator. Okay, this matchup, Shadisha Green versus Ellen Cederroos, is an eliminator match for the WBC title. Okay, which whoever wins in this matchup gets to challenge Franchon Cruz again, or challenge Franchon Cruz, the undisputed super middleweight champion, for her WBC belt. Okay, so that's why this, that's why this interests me, right? Because Ellen Cederroos, for damn sure, she ain't calling my name when it comes to me spending minutes to watch nobody fight. I got better things. Like, I could do so much more with what's 2 times 20, with the 20 minutes, 25 minutes I'd be using up in my life to watch her fight again. I'm just saying, I've seen enough of her outfits, and I'm not a fan of watching another broad leak in there, unless she doing it like how Christy Martin used to do it, and all them other bleeders who used to fight when the blood started to pour. So yeah, the Shadisha Green is 11-0 with 11-0 with 10 KOs, as you guys can see. Okay, the undisputed champion Franchon Cruz is 8 wins, 1 loss, and only 2 KOs. One of my titles was "Watch the Game, Not the Score." And this is also an example of that. So here comes Shadisha Green, who done lost 40 pounds. Girl, congratulations. Anybody who's lost that much of themselves is determined. Okay, 40 pounds. I don't know what kind of fighter she is at 40 pounds. She was slow, and she needed a bit more action as a heavyweight. Um, she's called one of women's boxing's best kept secrets. Um, I beg to differ, right? A secret is some shit that you want to know about. I don't really care to know about this fighter too much at this point because she hasn't done anything. That 11-0 doesn't do anything for me to want to know the secret about any of that. I'm just saying she may be a nice person, beautiful woman, but we talking boxing here. We talking fighting here. We talking about behaving badly. And I don't think she as bad as these numbers portray her to be out here. I think uh I think Franchon Cruz is a better broad than her, if you ask me. Franchon has been through a lot of adversity. Don't let the diva fool you. She went in there and she fought a man. Okay, I mean, it was a, it, the trans community is now going to have their own division and their own um, playing field. But you know, when you fight a man is a man, right? She went in there when a man lay hands on you, it's still the man hands, right? And she fought the hell out of um that broad, right? We'll call it because she came in as a broad, call her a broad, okay? But Shadisa Green she ain't fought one badass in that 11-0, right? In Franchon Cruz's 8-1, I can say Franchon Cruz has fought at least two difficult fights, two hell of a fights, right? Watch the game and not the score, right? They come out talking about the hardest puncher in women's boxing right now. Give a shit. So, I remember one time they said she hits hard. I said, so this is what y'all don't understand about certain women cut from the fabric. Hard punch. We supposed to be scared about scared of that? Getting hit hard. That's what that we signed up to get hit. This ain't pillow fighting, right? So if I get hit hard with a shot, okay. So, right? But you know, I'm a samurai up in here too, right? Live by the sword, die by the sword. I've stopped people and I've been stopped, right? But that just shows you the fabric of a fighter. Fabric of a fighter that's willing to go in there and die by the sword. And I think Franchon Cruz is that type of fighter, right? I question Shadisha's, um, I validity in that. Okay, I haven't seen that 11-0. I ain't nobody on that receipt. There's items on Franchon's receipt. Um, especially with Franchon. Do y'all know Franchon has been an international world contender as in that she has a great amateur background, right? So she's seen different looks. She been around. She was around before Shadisha even thought of boxing, right? So don't let the smooth taste fool you. Don't let the um glimmer and glamour and the sequence and all of that shit fool you, right? That broad from Baltimore, she she bad. She bad out here. Franchon Cruz discern. Um, so I'm, like I said, I'm questioned. There's a question there. Lovely assistant, can you go on to the next image? Um, Michael Orr says Clarissa Shields has recently cited Green as one of the best female boxers she has been in the ring with. Oh, okay. Um, um, that's good. And what did Jesus say? Like, okay, Clarissa Shields said that. Good. Um, I'm still I got two eyes. I know what a fighter looks like. I know how a fighter operates, right? Clarissa Shields, she's impressing people who don't know the sport. I paved the way for Clarissa Shields. Fighters like me and the other broads, Yvonne Reyes, like I said, Devon Camp, we paved the way for Clarissa Shields. So it's what we say too. Okay, Veronica Simmons. I would have loved to seen Veronica Simmons versus Clarissa Shields. That would have been that right there is a super match. That's a super match. Um, yeah. That would have been like a Jack Johnson versus Muhammad Ali. Cause but Muhammad Ali wasn't stopping nobody. Muhammad Ali would box your ears off. Jack Johnson now. Jack Johnson is the type of fighter going there and not only hurt you but manhandle you and fucking stop your ass. That was a Veronica Simmons back in the day. The only thing that is different, right? I love Clarissa Shields. She's a great example of a female fighter. But it was just opportunity. It was just opportunity, right? There were fighters before her, the ones that paved the way. If we had the opportunity, we would have medaled at the Olympics, right? We would have gotten we were great too. She didn't invent the wheel, right? She's good at it. She's good at driving. She's good at being behind the wheel. But just because an award is here now, just because she's able to get the awards and the bells and whistles, doesn't negate the validity and the who was before, right? A Letitia Robinson. I would have loved to seen Clarissa Shields versus Letitia Robinson. I mean, we let's forget women. Them broads back in the day was stopping bitches. I've yet to see Clarissa Shields stop a bitch. I mean, really. I'm talking about stop. Putting hands on, not letting the 2 minutes go down in time or whatever. Stop a bitch in her tracks. And these are broads that have this skills, right? It's not nowadays, and that's why me and your girl Franchon Cruz butt heads, because she had seemed to think that she was a spokesperson for the new age fighter, that that her generation was more skilled than the ones before her. And I had to stop her. I had to really stop her and let her know, you ain't said nothing. You ain't saying nothing. She came around at a time where the division was empty. We aged out. We grew up. We became women. We moved on. But there was nothing for us to move on to. There was no real pros. Promoters weren't signing us on purpose. We weren't getting paid. We weren't getting opportunities. So it's not the fact that, oh, these women are greater now. It's just now the boys are interested. Now there's a place for them to go. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, this is the platform. Sugar got to let y'all know, right? I love these new youngins. I love these wet nose. I love these broads, right? But you know, at the same time, I know what it takes. I know what it takes to really earn your money in this sport and doing this. I know what it takes. And what they doing to Shadisha, what Shadisha doing ain't it. 11-0 fighting who, right? Shadisha Green. Even so, like, let's say it's Shadisha Green. All right, let's talk like, do y'all think a Shadisha Green would hold up versus a Layla Ali? Mm-mm. I don't think Clarissa would hold up versus Layla Ali in her prime. I don't. Layla Ali is what, 5'11", and had heavy hands, right? And came up rough. She did come up rough like that. It's just that she had a daddy name, so she was able to walk a clearer path than the rest of us, and she actually had a path, right? But I would say that she came up, she tasted some of our leather, right? She avoided a good amount of the great contenders out there that was in her division, right? But it was all survival for her, so I guess I gotta forgive her for that. But people out there calling it she the greatest and paved the way. Nah. We paved the way for her too. Yeah. Um, where we at? Michael Orr, I guess this is after I asked Women's Boxing Channel, who does he think should get a shot, or who they would he would y'all would like to see, or Women Boxing Channel would like to see uh hold the 147 IBF title. And Michael Orr chimed in saying, is it Mary McGee? She'd be a great contender at 147. But I saw her recent comeback match, and like I said before, Mary needs help. She can carry the weight, she's strong, she's determined, but her style is dated. If she doesn't get updated with how she operates in that ring, she's not going to be a contender, especially at that 147 division, right? I see where Terry Harper should dip down and get that 147 division, because I mean, for her to try to sit there and pressure Natasha Jonas into fighting her, Natasha said that girl ain't getting no rematch, right? So Terry Harper, dip down, right? You should be able to pull off uh this feat of getting some kind of hardware at 147. Um, Mary McGee just fought a great journeywoman, Dahania Dahania Santana. Is it? Wonderful fighter. Wonderful, wonderful fighter. I just wish she had her head together to be a champion, because that broad can fight. But she fights in the lower divisions, the Hania Santana. She fought down in Amanda Serrano's weight division. Was it what does Amanda Serrano fight at? I can't even. I'm sorry, y'all know. I'm just not like that division. Her down there and cruising them. They trying though. They trying to bring some noise to that division. Um, So yeah, down in those lesser weight, Dahania Santana actually fought Amanda Serrano as well, but Mary McGee just fought Dahania Santana at I think 140 or something, 147 or something like that, which is, that's just a combat match. Mary was supposed to beat Dahania, and you could clearly see that Dahania signed up for that for a payday. Dahania Santana is a good journeywoman. She's a good test. I think Mary McGee stopped her, right? But like I said, you're a different fighter in a different weight division. She's a phenomenal fighter down in the lower weights, but maybe at 147, Dahania Santana don't got the guns, don't have the durability to stand up to a fighter that is a real welterweight like Mary McGee. So yeah, that was a bit interesting. I look forward to seeing Mary McGee evolve. I'm still waiting on her to evolve. I don't Mary McGee, I do give her this credit. Mary McGee will fight. Mary McGee will fight. Sign her up, her ass gonna fight. I like that about her. I just think Mary gets caught up in she's a sanguine. Her temperament is a sanguine. Put the lights on her and she forget about what the hell she actually needs to do, right? Because what she wants to do is she wants to be a performer. She wants to be in that. She gets so engulfed in the spotlight that she forgets that the spotlight only lasts a couple minutes. You got to be real in the mother trenches in order to get somewhere in this game, right? Because she is not Mary McGee is not the she is not the statistic that people are looking for to market. Okay, and someone said that about me to my coach as well when I first, when my coach was thinking of turning me pro as an amateur. He said, and I'll never forget, my coach said, he said, Natalie is not the type of female that they would want to market in the professional, because at that time, and I'm going to say this, it was, you had to be blonde, you had to be white or light, right? Us black gals, it was very prejudiced, and I'm gonna say it, right? We weren't being marketed. Uh, it wasn't appealing to put us on that type of platform, right? So I also love Clarissa Shields for that, for being undenied or undeniable, right? For slaughtering all of the faces and all of the marketed girls, better marketed girls in front of her. She slaughtered their asses, and she made the world respect her in saying, I am the best right now, and you will buy a ticket to come either see your girl get her ass whooped, right? Or you can hope and wish that she whips my ass, but you gonna pay for it. And I like that. That's how Clarissa changed the game. Much respect to her for that. But yeah, um, yeah, it's just that's another black eye in women's boxing. But now, look, it's a more even playing field. Everyone can get some shine nowadays. That's great. It's wonderful. um Women's Boxing Channel says Cameron wants to fight at 147, but that ain't happening because Eddie has his sights on her versus Baumgardner at 140. Eddie wants Baumgardner versus Katie Taylor first, though, if she beats Serrana or Cruz. Yeah. So this is what I want us to not to do, right? As good as Eddie Hearn is at promoting women's boxing, he's only promoting who he wants to promote, right? Um, Alicia Baumgardner has no damn business fighting no damn 140 pounds when there are other contenders that are actually 140 pounds that should be fighting for that title. Okay? No, no, Eddie. And we not fanboys and not fangirls out here. Ain't enough of us. Like, we want to stop that. We're gonna stop that. We want real fighters. That's what we want in women's boxing. We don't want celebrities. We want real fighters. We don't want pretty bitches that look like they can fight or can perform a fight. We want women behaving badly. We want women out here that actually whoop ass, to go up there and do it and get paid for it. That's what it was. That's what it was all about to begin with. There are no celebrities. Let's stop this celebrity thing. It's old, it's dusty. Cameron wants to fight it. Well, let Cameron whoop Alicia's ass and get it over with, because yeah, Cameron is one of them. Cameron, Chantel Cameron will whoop Alicia Baumgardner's ass in there. And I would love to see it. But then who's next? Who's next? Right? Let Alicia build the division that she's in right now. I like that she took the fight with McCallum. Right? Let Alicia plant seeds in the division and bring other girls in. Right? McCallum is a good contender, and I would watch, if she wasn't fighting Alicia, I would watch her fight somebody else because she's a good contender. She's a good fighter. Okay, let's do it that way. Right? Instead of chasing celebrities. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. The early 2000s want they damn swag back. It's old, it's dusty, it's boring. Let's take it back. Let's take it back to when women were really fighting. Let's do that, right? The 1990s done messed it all up with this celebrity shit, right? And then the early 2000s. Let's bring it back to actual women behaving badly, real contenders that's coming out of everywhere, all the trenches, right? The ugly parts of us, right? Now that it's legitimate, but before you should have, the type of women who were fighters weren't as refined, weren't, we were women behaving badly. We were women that the people put their nose up to. Oh, she's that type of girl. She's that type of broad. And now that we've earned our place and earned our respect and made the path, you putting celebrities in? No, do that. Like my son used to say back when he was, no, do that. Don't do that. Right? This is a game. This is an industry where you need to earn. You earn your keep. You earn your money. You earn your spot. Yeah. And none of these women's boxing channel. I love how you stay up to date with it, with this stuff. But like, unless these things are inked and they're on ink and they're about to happen, I don't believe in it either, because like I don't chase the hype. When I see the contract signed, I say this, that's why I love BoxRec. When it's on BoxRec in the highlighted in yellow, that's when I know, okay, we got something going, right? Aside from that, it's gossip. And Sugar, that's one Sugar thing Sugar don't do, is gossip. Michael Orr says, so true. Eddie has different plans for Cameron. Okay. I want to see it. I would like to see Cameron instead of watching Eddie play with these girls like toys. How about we as the fans and we as the people out here that Eddie's trying to get money from for these shows, pull for more variety, right? Pull for Eddie to bring more, that to build these divisions more, instead of just using one celebrity to jump weight divisions. Right? Because y'all can't pick a damn side. You love women's boxing, or you love women that box, right? It's two different things. I hope you know that, right? Women that box can be celebrities. Women's boxing is a whole movement, is a whole history, is a whole lifetime, right? And they're not the same. They're not the same. Women have lost their lives trying to live that dream, trying to make a living being in the industry, women's boxing. This ain't no celebrity shit, right? So do you love women who box, or do you love women's boxing? We want to make I love women's boxing, right? Because I don't love every woman necessarily who box, right? Because every woman who box don't bring value to my industry and to who I am and what my legacy is, right? They don't. So, let's see. We're gonna, give me a second. Sorry about that. Oh my, we're going into 2 hours. Y'all know sugar shows are long, but I have so much fun. I got my guys on here, Michael and them, Women Boxing Channel, and then Eddie Barrington, Mr. George. Come on now, we having fun. We having a little party on here, and besides the people who ain't chiming in, I see y'all. I see y'all. I feel y'all. Thank you. Thank you for chiming into Sugar. Um, so Michael Orr says, what about Ivana Habazin? She beat Diana Prazek for the vacant WBC silver welter back in October. Yeah, yeah. Mike, yeah. I like the thought of Ivana Habazin. I even like the idea of Diana Prazek. Bring them broads back. Bring their ass back, right? Because I'm like, it's, y'all just don't understand. Like, this celebrity shit is boring. Why the hell would I want to see the same broad fight at 140 that fought it? Come on, right? She got people to beat in her division. Let her stay in her division and fight people, right? It ain't about her. It's about who at this weight, who's the baddest chick at this weight, not right. And there's a plethora of women who behave badly out here that will give y'all a show. I promise you. Um, so let's see. Where are we at? Michael Orr says, oh, Women's Boxing Channel says, sorry, but Habazin as a mandatory for McCaskill is an absolute joke. Well, I mean, Women's Boxing Channel, um, the 147 division has, you know, it is like a dead zone, because Cecilia Brækhus mucked it up for so many damn years, right? Like you had a broad that held on, that paid for the titles and held on to them shits for damn near 20 years. You know what I'm saying? She didn't allow anything to grow. She did not allow anything to grow. So it's a dead division, right? So yeah, like these matchups in 147 will be a joke until contender. You got to let it grow. It's like, you're not going to have just you're not just going to, go into a field, a dirt field, and then expect grass to grow overnight. You got to plant seeds. You got to plant seeds and see what comes up from those seeds, right? So we got to give that division a good, let's give that division a good 2 more years to develop, right? But right now 147 ain't the skillet, right? It ain't the skillet. McCaskill, she did good by. I mean, it was a good move, and I don't think. I mean, she's not the. I don't think it's her. She's a phlegmatic temperament. You don't see her say much, and she repeats what her I don't know if it's her boyfriend. I don't know who he is to her now, but she repeats what Ramos tells her to repeat, and she does what she's pretty much the Ramos robot, right? Ramos lives vicariously through her. Like Ramos wanted to be a champion, so he lives vicariously through McCaskill, who I think they're going to get married, right? Congratulations. um yeah, you get to have that for the rest of your life. Anyway, um Michael Orr says she took Shields the distance. Y'all talking about Habazin? Yeah, she took. I mean, Habazin is just like Ellen Cederus, right? She can take the punishment. She's gonna keep going. You know, that's her fight. She's like a Rocky. These broads are like a Rocky. They'll let you beat them till you get tired, and then they'll keep going and run over you, right? So, you know, you might be surprised, like a fighter. I don't want to talk about it no more, to be honest, but you might be surprised. But let the division grow, right? McCaskill, she's lucky. Um, they'll probably let her keep paying for them belts at 147. She should have been stripped of all of them, but I guess they're letting her hang on, if she can keep paying the bill until a real contender comes and represents and takes takes it. Um, Michael Orr comes back and says, but that was 2020, and then 2 year hiatus. So that's Habazin. That's another thing too. Those hiatuses, those hiatuses really change you. If you don't keep your foot in the water, or keep your foot in the pool, you lose it. You really will. So I don't know, but at the same time, that those hiatuses help you to mature. The only thing that I would say about a damn hiatus is don't you jump into the hot fire straight out of a hiatus, because your bones are soft. You got to allow yourself, get yourself back in the game, get your bones hardened up again, so when you get touched up, you can stay in there and have that durability that you need to continue to fight, because that's what hiatuses do, and hiatuses are a weapon used by promoters. Sorry, y'all, I got to plug in promoters and matchmakers to soften contenders up so they can run through them. Um, women's, give me a second, y'all, please. Women's boxing channel says, yes, Mike, but most everyone takes Shields the distance, as Shields ain't got the power to KO mostly. Shields relies on machine gun barrages. Habzin didn't win a round, uh, even in the scores. The score says, so I guess women's boxing saying that Habazin didn't even win one round in the matchup. Uh, Clarissa Shields versus Habazin was supposed to just keep Clarissa fresh, right? Habazin was not a real content, like she was not a high end contender for Clarissa Shields. So let's call a thing, right? That's why she's not active now, because she was brought in as a high end uh like opponent for Clarissa Shields. They made her, and she doesn't have the substance. She didn't have the substance to stay afloat. Women's boxing channel also says to take Shields the distance is really no biggie. They all lose anyway. Um, yeah, that I mean, I women's boxing channel does have a point there. Um, taking Clarissa Shields the distance is what everybody does, right? The only person that has done anything memorable with Clarissa Shields was Hannah Gabriel, because Hannah Gabriel put Clarissa on her ass, had her looking for the damn mouthpiece. Like, I can't believe I'm down here. Let me put this mouthpiece back in and take this broad in front of me seriously. Yeah, bitch, we finna fight. Right? So, that was the only one that really rung. Hannah Gabriel was the only one who really rung Clarissa Shields' bell. But not to say no one else put on a good showing, but you know, you have to do something different if you're going to beat Clarissa Shields. You have to do something different. You can't go in there thinking that you're going to box her, right? You have to take her away from that. She is a genius when it comes to her IQ is on that genius level in women's boxing when it comes to boxing, right? She knows her stuff. So you can't take that type of fight to her. She'll always win. She knows all of the answers. You have to take another type of fight to her. You have to take a nasty fight. You gotta be a pig that she has to roll with, right? You have to make her find a way to figure you out as a problem, right? You can't come in there clean. I make it dirty. Um. Oh, so Women's Boxing Channel also says Terry said this week she ain't moving out of 154. Hey, Terry Harper, boring ass. So she ain't moving out of 154. First of all, Terry Harper, for some reason, I don't know why this broad thinks that she's like, and Women's Boxing Channel, you tell me what's Terry Harper. The only thing that is interesting about Terry Harper is the fact that she got her ass knocked out by Alicia Baumgartner and she moved up to 154. That's the only interesting thing about her right now. As a fighter, she doesn't stand out when she's in there fighting and boxing. She's not like a Chantel Cameron. She's not even like McCaskill. At least people know that McCaskill gonna come in there and windmill her ass to the end of the fight, and she gonna come and windmill with her head down. Terry Harper, I can't think of one thing that Terry Harper does that makes her stand out and makes me remember and want to watch her. Her ass need to be floating wherever people will pay her some damn mind. Right? That's what she needs to do. Terry said. Next. If I was McGee, I would go up there and clip her ass at 154. If I was Mary McGee, because Mary McGee has enough moxie to deal with Terry Harper. She does. The only thing about that matchup, McGee versus Terry Harper, would be that Terry Harper would outbox McGee, because Mary McGee needs to be updated. She's very talented and she has a lot of potential, but the style, the style, that's what's killing her style. So Women's Boxing Channel says McGee didn't stop Santana retired in round 4. Okay, so fight was stopped. Okay, she didn't knock out Santana, but when somebody doesn't want to leave up from the stool, you've stopped them. So I'm gonna give Mary McGee her credit. She stopped Santana from, if it was a fight that Santana could finish, she would finish it. That's the type of fighter Santana is. So that. Michael Orr says feather. You talking about, thank you, Mike, for giving me the answer. So Amanda Serrano and them is featherweight. Okay, and they need to try to build more, contenders, or bring more people, more interest into the featherweight division. Instead, there will be no hopping around. We don't want that. Michael Orr says, that's right, Santana retired. Women's Boxing Channel says, LOL, McGee has fought at 140 many times. That's where Mary McGee always fought at. Well, 135, and then she went up to 140. So she's always rallied in that division. I think she deserves some play. We're just waiting for her to evolve. We're just waiting for her to evolve. She I think she has what it takes. I think she does. But she's got to figure, she's at this point, she's croning too. She's got to get to know herself now, and she's got to reinvent herself from that little girl Mary McGee type of fight to fighting like a grown ass woman in there, Mary Merciless McGee. Women's Boxing Channel, I guess you going in on me. Let's take it back to when women really fought, in quotations. Stop it. Women's fights these days are way more exciting overall than back then. I have eyes too. Women's Boxing Channel. Let me explain something to you. You still new to this. You saw what they allowed you to see. I lived it. So when I say, let's take it back to when women really fought, I was fighting real women, and women were really fighting. Okay? So you can be a fan, but me and the other women who lived the shit can say, let's take it back to when women really fought. And you talking about women nowadays are more overall exciting. You ain't never seen a real women's boxing match. You ain't never seen a real women's fight. Name a real women's fight that you ever saw. Were more exciting. Next, come on now. You can't even Hannah Fox versus Fredia Gibbs. Denise Moradas. Come on now. Don't do that. Don't do that. You always come on my show and you always try, you know what I'm saying? If you go and talk the thing, me and you will agree, but um that right there, that ain't your suit to wear, right? What you need to do is you need to just sit there and appreciate us. That's what you need to do, Women's Boxing Channel. Talking about way more exciting when you can't even quote me a real women's boxing match from back in the day compared to the fights that's happening now. Please. Michael Orr says women's boxing fights now are sometimes more exciting than some of the men. Women's boxing fights been more exciting than some of the men's fights. Y'all need to do y'all homework. Y'all really needs to do y'all homework, right? They've been saying that about women's boxing since way back. That's why we were used as novelties, right? We were used as novelties to keep people interested because a lot of the male undercards was boring as shit, right? That's why Don King brought in Christy Martin, because the damn undercards was boring as shit, and Christy Martin stole the show. Don't come on here dissing no women's boxing low key. I think you ain't gonna low key shade us, not on the Sugar Show. I'm gonna have to set both of y'all right, right? What y'all gonna do is y'all gonna appreciate us, right? Because, like I said, it's women behaving badly that even made these broads now, right? Some broads that you can be fanboys and fangirls for. They did not invent the wheel, and they certainly ain't reinvent the damn wheel neither. We've been even when, like, I just don't understand the disrespect, because even when I was a wet nose, even when I was an amateur back in the day, I respected the female fighters who were older than me, who did it before. I respected what they did. I got in the ring, and yeah, they weren't clean and technical like us coming up, but I would never say that I'm more entertaining and I'm more this and more that than them. They had a style, and that's what it means when people say styles make fights. Styles make fights. Right? Just because it's a style that you don't understand and that you don't respect doesn't mean that it's not a style that's noteworthy nonetheless. And that doesn't mean that it's not a style that may fuck you up or your favorite gal. Right? I would love to see some of these gals get in there with some of these old school broads who are I guess aren't as entertaining. You think that they not hitting just as hard? You think those old school broads wasn't hitting just as hard? You think they wasn't more resilient than these gals? Those old school broads, do you know who they were training with? You know what they had to do to box? They were in there with men. They had to go to the boxing gym and spar and train with men. These broads aren't doing that right now. Right? It's a different type of understanding. It's a different type of a vibe towards you when you have to go in there. When you're in the gym or you're in a ring, you're in a place where the men, most of the men think that you don't belong. They want to do everything to make you change your mind from showing up every day to be you, right? There was no, oh, you a broad coming in this gym, oh, I respect you. No. What's this broad doing in here? Oh, we going to make her we going to make her understand that this is not a place for a woman. That's how it was. Y'all not going to come on here and don't do that. Take it to the other show. Y'all know it's another show that you can do that on, not this one, right? I love what y'all are saying. And how y'all support us women, but y'all are not going to do that. Eddie Barrington comes in and says, Sugar's whole point is that there would be a huge barrier to your ability to watch the all-star female boxers of that time. Of course, we're seeing great fights and fighters. Like, you're seeing what's in front of you. Okay, you're seeing still what's put in front of you. I know what the terrain is out here. I know the different styles. I know the different kind of women fighters out here, right? Um, Eddie Hearn and all of these mofos that put some Chef Boyardee in a can and feeds you something processed that they like, and you like it. That's good, but I like home cooking, right? I do respect a lot of these broads out here. Give me a moment. Hey y'all, I'm back. All right, so goodness, we going past 2 hours, right? I had to let the steam off with that little thing. Um, yeah, I like home cooking. I know what the style, um, I like what the style of home cooking is, right? Um, Ain't nothing like a good ass whooping, whether you see it in the parking lot at the Walmart or under the lights in the ring. It's still women behaving badly, right? And what I don't want to happen in the women's boxing industry is for people like some of you out there to um, make us women who do behave badly feel like that there's only a certain type of woman that can behave badly, or she can only behave badly in a certain way, because styles make fights, right? She don't have to be clean, right? Look at McCaskill, right? We don't understand, like, but she's in there windmilling her way to championship, right? Same thing, right? I want these basement boxing broads, like I said. I want these bar fighting broads, right? I don't want these celebrity made Eddie Hearn broads taking money from what used to be a way that us women behaving badly could make a living being us and creating our version of combat art. I don't want that, right? Look at Eddie Hearn. Look at him. If he wasn't a women's boxing promoter, who who the hell would give him some play? Come on now. Let's call a thing, right? With a sauce, with a flavor, old school and new school, but new school need to respect the old school. And they need to work just as hard as old school. Otherwise, won't be no more of this. It'll just be for the celebrities, right? It touches my heart. And I have to really put y'all in your place about this, because Sugar was a scrappy girl who would never have been looked at right now because she wasn't a superstar. She was a scrappy girl who wasn't afraid to fight. And I had to go through my ways. And I had to fight, and I had to find my style so I could fight. Right? And then what was true in the amateurs became something like what you guys like now, a popularity contest in the pros, to where only the popular girls, only the girls that they fed to y'all got the opportunities, while the rest of us out here damn starving. That's not what women's boxing is about. That's what this platform is for. I'm not going to sit here and friggin' titty ride with y'all about the celebrities that y'all like. I'm on here to talk about women behaving badly and who deserves the shots and opportunities because they behave badly in the most authentic way. They do a good job of it. Um, Eddie Barrington says women's boxing was wildly underserved in those days. Thank you, Eddie Barrington. Thank you. Women's boxing channel says Terry fights damn good names. She bounced Obanoff easily when Obanoff canvassed Jonas 3 times in a round and chucked the towel in. She KO'd Wallstrom too. Okay. And Alicia Baumgartner bounced her ass, right? So, like I said, Terry Harper at 154 pounds now. Who am I going to be interested in watching her bounce? Who's she bouncing? Is she going to bounce Chris Namos? Like, who's she bouncing? We need her to step up, right? She bounced she bounced the broads in the lighter weight. Step up now. You talking about I'm not leaving 154. Well, show us why. Like, I hope that there's a bad broad out there that she'll take on. That's very um you know that's very brave and bold of you to say I'm not leaving 154. Bet you that bad? All right, well, let's see you fight some 154. Let's see you fight some good contenders in 154. Let's see you bring some. Not opponents and not name opponents. Let's see. Yeah, Raquel Miller. Let's see you fight her. Let's see you fight the likes of her, right? I don't care what you say. Show me better than what you could tell me, Terry Harper. I'm not people like these fanboys and fangirls out here. All right. I know what it needs to look like. I know what you need to do to to convey that I'm not leaving 154 message, and it ain't talking out your mouth. Um Women's Boxing Channel says, but Sugar, you mostly put down and disrespect modern day fighters all the time. It ain't us that are disrespectful. When have I disrespected or put down any modern day fighter? I don't disrespect or put nobody down. What I do is I bring to light what they're actually doing. I don't make none of this shit up. I don't make none of it up. Sugar ain't never came on here and made up no story about any of them. It's there. They did it. Right? Your feelings are hurt, Women's Boxing Channel, because I bring things up that your favorite fighters do or your fighters do. I call them on their bullshit and your feelings get hurt. Right? Maybe a lot of these modern day fighters are on some bullshit compared to what it was before. Have you ever thought of it that way? Right? Nobody's disrespecting anything. Sugar ain't never disrespected a female fighter on here, but she has called them on their bullshit, right? Get your story straight. Get your story straight. And LOL, the kettle whistle went off. Yes, the kettle whistle went off because yes, I do drink a spot of tea once in a while. And yes, I have a kettle, which I heat the water with, and you know how that goes. So yeah, that's what's happening over here. Michael Orr says the difference between fighters of the past and present is the science that goes into training. Pugilists have gotten bigger, stronger, and faster. Right. So pugilists have gotten bigger, smaller, bigger, stronger, and faster, but they are not as educated. So they've traded the education for big, strong, and fast. That's why they don't last very long. That's why they don't last very long. And that's why their careers don't, you know, they're not leaving legacies like the older fighters, right? Because they're going for bigger, stronger, faster. Boxing is a science. It's an art. It's a skill. It's a craft. It's education. Bigger, stronger, faster doesn't mean you have the IQ. It just means that you you doing the push-ups, you doing the sit-ups, you taking the peds, you taking whatever it is that'll get you bigger, stronger, faster. That's how the game gets disrespected, right? That's why I love throwback fighters like a Terrence Crawford. He's a throwback fighter. He has education. That man can fight. I thoroughly love watching him fight. Like I said, I've done it. I've gone in there and actually done it. So bigger, stronger, faster doesn't impress me, because at this end of the day, when you get tired, what do you have? You have your heart and your mind. And what are you going to do when you're not the bigger one, when you're not the stronger one, when you're not the faster one? How are you going to win? Education. Okay? Don't let the smooth taste fool you. Sugar's true to this. I became a woman doing this, right? I have more respect than bigger, stronger, faster for what this game is. Sugar, I sit down with the very best of them, men and women, and I talk the talk. And what they do, they nod their head. Why? Because I spit bars. I be spitting. I know what I'm talking about. I talk to the managers. I know this, I know it. I'm not guessing it. Y'all come on this show. I say, ask me. Because I want to know what y'all want to know. And I want to tell y'all the authentic answers to these questions. But if you coming on here with the instant noodle version of something that I'm trying to educate you about, now, you being disrespectful. You being disrespectful. I have no reason to lie. I have no reason to put nobody down. I respect everybody doing this. Michael Orr says the new gen may lack in the skill set of pugilists before them. The new generation lacks the skill set that the generations previously had. Why? We talked about this on the show, on the Friday night show with Tim Witherspoon. The old generals died with the knowledge in their brain. And these new guys did not take the time to stick around and really learn from the older generation. The only people that will be able to pass that knowledge along now are the fighters, are the fighters who can teach it. That's who's passing that knowledge down. Bing. Right? So I'm not on here. Who, me? No. I'm not on here putting nobody down. I'm on here calling it at what I see, right? And to be honest, like the reason why the Sugar Show is still on, or the Sugar Show is still going, is because I'm the only person that has the gonads to do it. I'm not trying to be. I'm friendly, but I don't need to be anybody's friend in women's boxing, right? It didn't get me, it didn't get me much being people's friend in women's boxing, right? It's all the same, right? You got to know your stuff. You got to know your stuff in this game, and you got to know when somebody's serving you a hot shit pie. Right? No thank you. Right? I know what ingredients go into a real pie. I'm not going to eat. No thank you. Women's Boxing Channel says Terry is trying her best to fight Jonas to go for undisputed, but it's Jonas who don't want the smoke. How about Terry? This is what y'all don't understand. To become a mandatory and to become a valuable contender, you need to fight hard people. If Terry Harper wants to be a contender for Natasha Jonas, then she needs to go into the trenches and fight some monsters. And when she fights these monsters, or when she fights these hard contenders out there, then she brings more to the pot. She brings value to the pot. And then people start to see her to say, wow, she did that. That broad was tough and she beat her like that. Wow. I don't know if Jonas would be able to beat her if she did that to a contender like that. That's how it works. It's, you fight me, fight. No. When I was a contender, I always tried to find the person, or fight the people that people were talking about, the contenders. I brought my own contenders. I wasn't trying to fight old people, what you call it, used up opponents that she beat her, so I'm gonna fight her so I could beat her. That's why nobody wanted to fight me. I took those chances. I left my hometown. I did those things. Right? So I want to see these broads do stuff like that. I want to see Terry Harper add some depth to the pool instead of chasing after damn Natasha Jonas. Make your own legacy. Women's Boxing Channel said, I call facts, not favorites, with respect. You call, I mean, what is a fact if you don't know the real story behind what you read? They said Christopher Columbus discovered America, discovered the islands that he landed on. That's a fact. That was a fact. But there was people on the damn islands. It was people on the continent of America when he so-called discovered these places. Gone with your facts. gone somewhere with these facts. These facts are stories. These facts are things that were orchestrated for you to believe, for you to read and believe, right? When you know the industry and you know the business, you can read between the lines. So facts ain't facts to me. The facts that you believe, you could live with them. You could love those facts. I know what it is out here. That's why we have the Sugar Show, because those people who want to understand and know the authentic reasoning and understanding of what's happening out here, they'll listen to Sugar. Um Michael Orr says, I think it's more Ben Shalom, a boxer, and Eddie can't get the deal done. Regardless, there are other contenders out there that these two women can fight to bring to the table. So, like I said, do y'all are y'all fans of women's boxing, or are y'all fans of women boxers? Pick a damn side, because it's not the same. Both you Women's Boxing Channel and you Michael Orr, right? I'm on here to talk about women's boxing. I'm not on here to talk about celebrity women boxers. This is not, there are a lot of podcasts and a lot of shows and streams that do that. Go find one of those, but that's not what we do here on the Sugar Show. Right? The Sugar Show is talking about the authentic world of women's boxing, and what it is that you're looking at and what you're actually listening to and seeing. Women's Boxing Channel says, you sound rather resentful of today's fighters at times, though. Just saying. I would sound resentful to someone who doesn't understand what I'm saying. Right? When I was young coming up, the old women used to say things to us young women. And some of us young women would take it, oh, she's jealous because she's old. She's not young like me, so she's jealous. But some of us young women would understand where these old broads are coming from. Case in point, my grandmother grew up in a time where women couldn't get certain jobs. Women weren't allowed, or women weren't, the common woman wasn't able to get a certain level of education. And so she would talk about us young broads and say, y'all don't even know what hard work is. You don't know what it means to this. You don't da. Right? I never looked at her as resentful. I looked at her and I understood her pain. I understood what she meant. I understood her message to me, saying that if I had what you had today, I would be so much more, because I know what it means to work hard. I know what it means not to have. I know what it means to work hard for the shit end of the stick. Because I worked hard for the shit end of the stick. And here you go. You can go to school, you can get a job, you can make money, and you doing this? I expect more of you. You can do more. I believe that you can do more because I did it, and you have a lot more opportunity than I did. So do more. Impress me. That's what my grandmother used to say. I would never look at an elder. I would never look at someone who's walked the hard road before me and say, oh, you're resentful. That's very immature. And I'm not immature. I would feel them. I would have enough respect to educate myself about where they're coming from. I wouldn't sit there and devalue what they are and what they've done. Not me. I can't. Look at me. I have ancestors that I can't do that to. I owe that to them. So my perspective is a little bit different from yours, Women's Boxing Channel, right? Um, Call it what you may, but it is what it is on the Sugar Show. Michael Orr says Sugar just gets amped up with the way these women are getting these opportunities without putting in the work. Michael Orr also says slump some of these chumps. I mean, that's what it was too. You know, women were there were more who's like who's really getting it nowadays. And these fights are happening, and they're point fighting their way to the end and stuff. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that in the earlier times. They wanted blood. The crowd wanted blood. And that's what the crowd got back in the day, right? I remember being passed blood-soaked gloves before I went in the ring as an amateur at the women's tournaments. Blood-soaked amateur boxing gloves. They don't do that now. Oh, I remember when they changed the gloves to rubber gloves. So then when you hit hard, it bounces back off. The harder you hit, the harder it bounced off. Changed the game completely. That's me. I was there. Right? So these are the facts that I'm spitting to you. Right? These girls that you see and what they're not even trying to hit nothing, because they're coming from their background is coming from they're wearing rubber gloves to fight each other that bounce off. They don't even know what it feels like to really be hit. They don't know what a real fight feels like. That's what I'm talking about. So you call it resentful if you want, but I'm talking about how what has changed the game, and what I want you guys to understand, so the quality doesn't turn into something else, and so we don't women's boxing don't turn into celebrity boxing. This is the time to be a women's boxer. This is a time for us to eat, but the longevity of that is determined with how we perform in there and how hard we are working in there to make this money. Women's Boxing Channel says, oh, but I do know what goes on behind the scenes as well as reading up and watching. I suppose, Women's Boxing Channel, I guess. We agree on some of the things, but I think the behind the scenes that you're talking about is the gossip, he say, she say. I'm talking about behind the scenes of the feels. I'm talking about behind the scenes of what you really have to go through to do this shit. I'm talking about those behind the scenes. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the hurts and the pains. I'm talking about the selling a little of yourself to get a little further, the compromise of your soul. That's what I'm talking about, right? So I don't know what you're talking about, but that's what I reveal on here. Michael Orr, Women's Boxing Channel says, I have my finger on the pulse. Trust me. Okay, good. Michael Orr says, I see a lot of these female boxers moving through the ranks and getting title shots without actually being tested in the ring, just because of their amateur pedigree, having fought opponents. I mean, and like I said, Michael Orr said it, but that y'all don't understand the climate of what amateur boxing is. It's not it's not the same as it used to be. If you're using gloves and headgear, and people are now only tapping each other, what is that going to produce? What kind of fighter is that going to produce? Right? That's tagging. And so that pedigree now is what determines professional and professional value. Absolutely not. We can't do that. We can't do that. The value is being cheapened and bastardized. This industry is legalized assault. Us women who are willing to go in there and do it, we perform it, but it's legalized assault. It is not tag. And I may seem like a barbarian talking about it that way, but that's what it is. That's what it is. Right? That's why women have died in here. Right? Because that's what it is. So let's respect it. Let's respect it. Let's respect it enough to give value to the women who are actually doing it, who are actually going in there playing with fire and actually playing with fire. Right? Not the ones blowing smoke. Women's Boxing Channel says, so Katie Taylor versus Pursoon, Katie Taylor versus Serrano, Cameron versus McGee, didn't want blood. Marshall versus Shields, didn't want blood. It wasn't just back then. It's now too. They wanted blood, but was there blood? They wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Like they wanted it. Um, go to the retro women's fights. Go to the old school. I'm not even going to name it because y'all need to do some homework. I'm not going to sit here and give you the answers. Go look up. Go look up the old school women fights. Go look at Bonnie Canino and them. Go look up Hannah Fox. Go look up Fredia Gibbs. Go look up all of them broads. Go look up uh goodness Deidre Goddery or something like that. I mean, they're not even these they're not even there's not even footage out here on a lot of great women fights that happen. Look up Samaya Nani. Look up Marisha Shaw. Look up those type of women. Right? Look up those type of women. I showed Isra Girgra. Like, these are the type of women that would stand there and fight, stand there with and throw leather. They're not tapping in there. They're not running from a fight. They're fighting. They're fighting. They're not running from a fight. They're fighting. Um, Michael Orr says, who are there just to be another notch on that win column? I mean, glorified opponents and all of that. So we can't do that anymore. Women's Boxing Channel says, I get to talk in DM to certain managers and coaches by telephone and promoters like Fight Zone on the phone for an hour about what's going on. So yeah, I know way more than I let on often. Let me tell you something about managers and coaches. They letting you on. Managers and coaches are not going to sit there and tell you. Said you talked to Melissa St. Ville the one time, and she told you, I ain't even in no shape, with her little Mickey Mouse voice. You could believe that shit if you want to. This is boxing. This is the industry of boxing. Nobody's going to tell you the truth. Women's Boxing Channel, they're not going to tell you nothing. Everybody, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's a language that we speak. Somebody will tell you something in a real. Just come to a Friday, go to a Friday, and listen to Tim Witherspoon talk. Right, I've been on there with me, and I have me a time with Champ Tim, because when we talk or when he sets, he'll cut right to the chase. Oh, so they was going to use him as an opponent. Yeah. When these guys say one thing, Tim comes with the real on what it is, what had happened. So yeah, you get to talk on the phone. Yeah, they love that for hours, jiving your ass. Do that if you want to, right? You got to learn the language, baby. Stick with me. Michael Orr says, oh, we're about to go into a 3-hour show. I'm going to have to wrap it up, y'all. But Michael Orr says, but that goes both ways, male and female. I base my whole show on profiling these young, hungry, undiscovered pugilists that go unnoticed. Women's boxing, Gagardi. So yeah, look, yeah, that one. Women's Boxing Channel says Dennis Hobson's a good guy. Yeah, they're all good guys. They're all great gals out here. Michael Orr says there's not enough time in the round to play chess in the amateurs. It's more of a game of checkers. 2 minutes, there's not much time to do anything in 2 minutes, if y'all men know what I'm talking about, right? If you want to please anybody, you got to go more than 2 minutes. Even though that is the meat and potatoes of it all. But give me, like, entertain me, give me some. I like the foreplay. Okay, so what I'm saying, I said that to say this: a person who is fighting 2-minute rounds, right, is a different animal from a person who's fighting 3-minute rounds and who has had that experience and intensity of having someone come at your head for 3 minutes straight. There's no ducking and diving and moving and bouncing in. There's none of that. You got to think. You have to be educated. You have to be able to remember a strategy. And that's a whole other ticket. Trust me. Women's Boxing Channel says, you mean draws. I'll huff you for not taking me. I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what that means. Women's Boxing Channel. But we go back and forth, and it's all in love. I love you. I love you, Women's Boxing Channel. You my day one. We come in here, you come on here and you argue with me. And I love you for that. Right? Because you show up and you show out and you know what you're talking about, right? But with certain parts of the story, you just gotta let sugar take the lead. Okay. With lovely assistant, is there any more pictures? Y'all had me. I done gone it. Lovely assistant, you there? You probably sleep by now. It's 10 and a half out here. 10 and a half, almost 11. I think my lovely assistant is asleep. All right, so I'm gonna end it with this, you guys. Michael Orr says Wolf versus Ward. Did y'all know about Wolf versus Ward, right? One of the best knockouts in women's boxing history. And I'm not going to lie to you because I have a friend who is she was a Olympic level basketball player, and we were I was a boxer at the time, but she knew Vonda Ward, and she was like, Vonda Ward is, she's big, and she was training. Vonda Ward was training. Ann Wolf was brought in as an opponent for Vonda Ward. If y'all don't understand, Vonda Ward was supposed to be a star, but there's always a fighter's chance. And y'all know Ann Wolf is trained old school. Ann Wolf got the old school brain. I would have loved to seen Clarissa Shields fight at Ann Wolf. That would be an interesting matchup too, right? Because that style I think would probably be a difficult style for Clarissa Shields. Why? Because Ann Wolf was also very strong in both her determination, her will, and physically. So the pressure from that would have been very interesting to see how the Guat, Miss Shields, um, would deal with that. There are no fighters out there there's no fighters around like Ann Wolf. No fighters of that fabric that exist nowadays. And that's what I mean. They can, but why don't they exist? Why don't women fighters like that exist anymore? Hmm. Um, Women's Boxing Channel says he said not chess, it's checkers. And we in the UK call it draws. Scone drafts. Okay. Um, so yeah. I mean it's a popular phrase in boxing too, right? Boxing is uh chess, not checkers. And it's true. It's true. It's a strategy. You have to have a strategy of a chess minded person, not checkers. Michael Orr comes in and says Barbara Bruchik was 4'11". She was a monster with 30 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw. Okay, and she was a celebrity. Can you imagine the women who were fighting underground at the time that Barbara Bruchik was fighting? She was a celebrity. She was someone who could do it and have some prestige about her. What about the bitches fighting in the barnyards with no shirt on, titties out, and a skirt and they skirts? That's how it used to be back, and that's how it was, right? That's how underground fighting. That's how it was. Y'all don't know them stories. Y'all don't know them facts. Do some homework. Ward was about 6'6". Yep. Like I said, Vonda Ward was supposed to be the celebrity. She was supposed to be the superstar, but you saw what happened. Fighter's chance. Women's boxing said the hardest hitter back then was probably Lucia Riker. No, no. The hardest hitter. Y'all, you think the hardest hitter was Lucia Riker because that's what they spoon fed you. But the hardest hitter in women's boxing back in the day was not Lucia Riker. You know what? I'm gonna do a show on that. Let's stick a pin in that. I'm gonna make a note of that. Hardest hitters. Thank you, Women's Boxing Channel. All right. I'm very disappointed in Lucia Riker, to be honest, because she was actually my favorite fighter coming up. And then when I growed up and I really read and I saw what she did, I saw she ain't do nothing. I became more of a Christie fan. Lucia ain't did nothing. She didn't do nothing in women's boxing. She did more of it in kickboxing than she did in women's boxing. Um Michael Orr says Gwen Gemini was one of the most accomplished and versatile welterweights of the 70s and 80s. Okay, now y'all spitting. Now y'all spitting. Now y'all showing love to women's boxing. Now y'all spitting, right? And just like Brooke D says, Gwen Gemini, what was her style? Now you gotta dig a little deeper. Styles make fights. What was the style? What was her temperament? Like the broad. Tell me about her. Be a real historian. Like really love this shit. Because when you start loving it, when you start knowing who did it before, that's when you'll understand why it's interesting now. And what it needs to be even more interesting now, and what the potential of it is. Women's Boxing Channel says Riker broke Jane Couch's jaw. Yes, but because at the end of the day, Jane Couch was not going to run from no dang broad in there. And she broke Jane Couch's jaw, and I think Jane Couch finished the damn fight. You know how damn painful a broken jaw is? And Jane Couch finished it. Tell me abroad now. Tell me what one of these these new broads now that got swag like Jane Couch that you see, they getting beat because of the weight, right? Tell me abroad that's her jaw is broken there and she's still fighting and making it through. And on that note, because I gotta get to bed. My lovely assistant, sleep and all, done left me froze on this image right here, and that ain't how I wanted to end it. Thank you guys. Oh, now you awake? All right, talk my guy. I'm going to say this though about this picture right here. I see what they're selling. She a big, surely scary broad. But I think she puffing smoke. Tattoos don't scare me. Muscles don't scare me. I what can you what that bitch doing in the ring? That's what delights me. That's what impresses me. And I see Jake Paul, he seems to be the type of guy that would be impressed by something like this, but Shadisha Green still has to prove herself. Um I just don't think I see her coming, but she better be careful. She better take some time, and Jake and them better take some time to build her to be a little bit more real before they face off with French, before she faces French on in there. That that I'm gonna say about this. Okay, so yeah, she looked scary. She looked big, strong, and fast, I guess, but can she fight when it comes down to being in a fight? Can she behave better than the baddest broad now in that division? Does she deserve the money that she's going to get for doing this over all of the other contenders? These are the questions, right? 11-0, 11 KOs. That kind of record doesn't even interest me in women's boxing because I automatically know that it's padded. I automatically know that 11-0 was made, not earned. Women's boxing says she did indeed go the distance with a busted jaw. My girl, Jane Couch. And then women's boxing says it's 10 minutes to 4 here. About to get to bed. Thank you, women's boxing, for spending the night with me. Women, I thought you was going to sleep, women's boxing channel. You want to come back talking about, yes, but in calling herself the heavy-hitting diva, Cruz Dezern only got 2 TKOs. Come on. You want to know why? Because no one's teaching these broads how to stop broads in the ring. The education is not there. The potential is there. Like I've said, these young broads have great potential, but they don't know how to put it together for what we really want, the object of the game is to stop that person in front of you, not to make it to a decision. The object of the game is to stop your opposition, right? The education is not there. There are things that are done in there that slows the body down, that slows the brain down, that work on the mind. That's the sexy part of boxing. It ain't the strong, fast, and hard. It's how you give it, right? That's what women like me appreciate, how you give it. So, I'm gonna end it, y'all. It's 3 hours. It's a 3-hour show. I can't believe y'all do this all the time, but I love it. Thank you, guys. Like, subscribe, and share. This is the first time I've said it the whole time. Like, subscribe, and share this sugar. Thanks for showing up, all my guys. Okay? Thanks, Women's Boxing Channel. Thanks, Michael Orr. Thanks, Eddie Barrington. Thanks, George. Come on now, I gotta scroll back and find you. Thank you, One Round with George. And thank you, my guys at Talkin Fight, for being here and giving Sugar the support to stay on here and have a time with all of you out there in cyberspace. Okay, y'all check out my guys and my gals now on we got something going on, I think every hour on the hour on Talkin Fight. But always chime in. We the guys and gals always get together sometimes when y'all get lucky on Fridays on the Talkin Fight panel. Okay, so if y'all don't see me there, y'all will certainly see me next Wednesday night, 7:30, same time, same face. May not be the same place, but I'll be waiting on you. Until then, bye-bye.